Welcome back, everybody. As you guessed from the title of the video, we are going over this pistol here. This is the AP5 being imported by Century Arms currently, and it is produced by MKE over in Turkey. So some of you may know this, some of you may not, but we're going to go through it anyway. MKE in Turkey is a huge weapons making facility. They make pretty much all of the Turkish military items, from pistols like this all the way up to battle rifles, all the way up to RPGs, tanks, heavy vehicles, etc. All of those sorts of things. And they've actually been working with H&K since I think 1909 is when the relationship first started. And HK has either licensed or actually shipped in actual HK equipment, depending on the gun that we're talking about here, to produce firearms in Turkey that are, again, either licensed or made on HK parts, or both, which would be the case for this gun. And so in terms of being as clone correct as you can be, that's what it is. You know, in terms of metallurgy, all of those sorts of things, it's going to be identical to what HK was producing when the MP5 relationship started with Turkey, and that was in the 70s. So this gun is based on a 70s series, or 70s style rather, MP5. There have been some changes that have been made to those guns in terms of like a current production MP5, and most of those were made after the 40 caliber and the 10 millimeter MP5 variants came out, and they realized they sort of had to strengthen some things for those calibers, and they rolled a lot of those changes over into the 9 millimeter as well. So this gun will not have those updates, but 98% of what you see on here will be identical to what you'd see with a HK MP5. Now, these are imported into the country as pistols with just an end plate on there. So one of the advantages of doing that is there's no 922R compliance, so they don't have to swap stuff out with American-made components to reach that 922R nonsense that the ATF mandates. And it does come with a few different things. It comes with a fancy hard case that you guys see here. Comes with 2 magazines, comes with a legit cleaning kit. It's actually quite nice. It's got that military color on there because, again, it's the same one that they issue out with it from the factory. This is the end plate that it comes with from the factory. Again, we have added a SB Tactical adjustable brace on there. Oop, thought it was going to go flying. It also comes with a legit 1970s MP5 style sling that you will never use in modern times. And then it comes with this flash hider here, which works with the 3-lug system. And it's actually a really good flash hider. It's fantastic. It does a great job of hiding flash, and it also keeps the report down a little bit as well. But we've ran it with that and then mostly suppressed. But let's get up close and personal and kind of check out the details of this pistol. Before we go over all the little details of it, I kind of wanted to just show you side by side with one of my MP5s. This is a real one, obviously slug fire. And you can see the type of clone it is. It's super close. The way all the different magazine weld parts are done, our little welds here are very similar. I know a lot of HK guys get really uptight about welds and weld quality, those sorts of things between the various brands. Honestly, between the HK and the MKE produced one, I don't see much of a difference. Honestly, that weld looks better on the AP5, but obviously it's a sample size of 1. Turning it around to the other side of the gun, once again, virtually a clone. The difference in terms of selector markings are there, though, of course, full auto, as we said. And additionally, this one here was made in West Germany, and this one here, of course, was not. The markings, though, are there, weld marks for you guys to compare, see how they look. It's pretty darn similar, in my opinion. Both of these have claw mounts. The claw mounts mounted up just fine. No issues there. In terms of up there on the front sight, again, it is virtually identical, as you guys can see. The ribs here on the gas tube, same, pretty much the exact same. It's a little bit more raised and pronounced here on the regular HK. I'm not sure if you guys can tell that on camera, but not much. Very similar. And of course, this has the slim handguards. Standard HK is going to come with the ones that you see here on your screen. I suppose we'll go into the details of the firearm as we take it down. It kind of just makes sense to do it that way. Obviously, we have added the SB Tactical brace on there. That does not come from the factory like that, unfortunately. One thing I'll tell you about the AP5, at least my sample size of 1, is everything is super tight on it versus my HKs. Now, the HKs also have way more rounds on them, so that's probably the reason why. But It is a very, very tight gun. Everything's snug on it for sure. So we'll remove our brace here, slide that out the back. Obviously that doesn't come with it. Pull our trigger guard and trigger assembly out and pull the guts out here with our bolt and carrier. Again, just like a regular HK, roller delayed, as you guys can see there, those are our rollers. And you know, the finish, the actual metallurgy, all of those things are the exact same as HK made, you know, when the factory was brought over there. Looking at it on the inside, not too much to talk about, obviously stamped. And our feed ramp around the actual barrel extension there is the exact same as an HK. It's got that circular feed ramp there, so there's no like direct feed ramp on the bottom, it's all the way around. And then looking into the upper receiver, I guess we'll call it here, we do have our diopter style rear sight. You can change the size of it as well as the elevation distance on it. Then we mounted the claw mount. That would not naturally be on there. But that is what's on there right now. Moving forward on the gas tube, like we talked about, this one's ribbed as well, a little bit different than the HK, but not by much. And then our front sight there is protected by that hood, and very durable design for sure. We have a sling swivel mount there up front, and the actual sling swivel mount that you would see on your stock, should you have a factory one, would be matching with that as well. We do have our mag release here on the right side. I don't know of anybody that actually uses that. Everyone just uses the flapper mag release on there, but it's on there. It's clone correct, all those sorts of things. One difference that I think is a plus for sure on the AP5 versus my MP5, and again, this one's older, guys. The new MP5s do have threaded and tri-lug adapters, but this has the threaded 1/2x28, so most of your US cans out there for 9mm will fit on there, and it also has the tri-lug system, so it's just a little bit more versatile there. So for folks that haven't used it, you have a tri-lug mount, you just push down on it and turn, and you're good. A little bit of back pressure and release, and it comes off. So very good system for mounting suppressors. One thing I would tell you though is each lug position does shift your zero. That's with every tri-lug gun I have, which is why most tri-lug mounts have some sort of like designator on there, so that way you can consistently do it every time. So when I zero the gun, basically I always do it with this one going on the top notch, and that way my zero never changes if I use a different tri-lug. The gun does ship with two 30-round standard capacity magazines. This one here on the left, on my left anyway, is the MKE version. This here is a KCI version. It does have the chromed follower on there as well. And you guys can see the weld there up front is a little bit sturdier than what we have here on the KCI for sure. And then over here, rather on this side, it is marked MKE. As we sort of alluded to earlier, the Handguard has that thinner profile there. That was common for the time period, again, when HK's tooling went into the factory. This was what they were using. It's changed over the years, but I like the fact that they kept the thin one. I think it looks good. It's very ergonomic. I have zero issues with it. For a fighting gun, me personally, I would throw something on there where you could mount a light, but just for shooting, it's perfectly comfortable, no issues with it at all. And basic reassembly of the gun is the exact opposite of what we did to take it apart, so pretty simple in that regard. I'm gonna put that in there. We'll put our trigger assembly rather on there. And I should note that you can convert this to full auto. If you guys have a sear or a sear pack, it's doable. I may do a video on that, honestly, down the road, but there's different steps that have to go into it for every different clone variant out there, but it is possible, and I've actually shot one at an industry event probably 2 months ago, so it's definitely doable for folks interested in that. We're going to throw down a couple groups here with this little pistol. On the gun right now, we have a Gemtech 9mm cane on there, the Lunar 9, and then we have an ACSS Predator 1-6 mounted up. It's a little weird in terms of bore access, but we got it roughly dialed in. We'll be on paper anyway. And the target is downrange at 50 yards. For folks who are new here, test pistols at 50 yards simply because of the wind. With 9mm, the wind really throws it around versus like a 223 or something like that. So that's the setup. Factory trigger in the gun right now. We have some Red Army Standard steel case stuff. They did send that out with the gun for the test. So after that, we have some other loads here. By no means is this a a prediction of how your gun's going to shoot with specific match ammo, because we only have one defensive type of ammo here. But just wanted to give you guys an idea of what this thing can do. So without further ado, let's get to shooting. I'll take that for steel cased ammo all day and twice on Sunday. You guys can see, steel cased, Red Army standard. Up next, guys, is some, what grain is this? 115 grain total metal jacket, Minuteman stuff. And we got 5 rounds of it loaded up. We will shoot that and see how it likes it. So I totally yanked that first one. That was on me. We're just gonna count the second 4 because shooter error is a real thing, and that was it. I yanked the crap out of it because that trigger is not exactly match grade, if you will. So here we have some Federal Premium HSTs, 124 grain plus P, a little bit more power there, and we'll see how it does with those. Let's check the groups out. First group there was that Red Army standard. And again, steel case stuff. We're coming in right at 1.75 inches. So you double that out for your MOA there. And then the Minuteman, not as good. And thanks to Minuteman for being a sponsor, ammo sponsor of the channel, for sure. 4.5 inches on that group. It opened it up. Don't know what it was. Each gun likes different loads, is what it is. And then we had our HSTs that definitely gave us our best group there. And center to center, we're right at 1 3/8 inch on that one. So, under a 3 MOA pistol, I will always take that. Pistols just aren't as inherently accurate as rifles are. And we do have a good bit of wind out here. I'm not sure if you guys can see that, but that could be opening it up a little bit as well. Either way, very happy with those results. Now that you've seen it up close and personal and compared to an MP5, a real one from HK Select Fire one, we're kind of going to go over a few things that we've left out so far in the video that are important. Number one, the top rail, the optics rail rather, does come with it. I forgot to mention that in the beginning, but that is a nice touch because those aren't exactly cheap. And speaking of cheap and price point, I should mention that this one was sent out to me for this review by the folks over at Century. So I do appreciate that, just full disclosure like we always do here. And price point on this, the thing is, right now I'm recording this, it is April 4th of 2021. So keep that in mind if you guys are watching this years from now. Right now, there is literally no MSRP on this gun. It doesn't exist. So you guys are gonna see it on dealer shelves for varying prices. And right now, of course, we have a huge run going on guns and ammo and all of those sorts of things. So right now, within the last 4 months, probably, I've seen these go from anywhere from, this is retail for $2,500 up to $3,000. So keep in mind that at this time, again, the same period, I have not seen an actual HK SP5 go for below $4,000. Most of them are selling out at about $4,500 to $5,000. So while people out there on the forums and Instagram or whatever, whenever I post a picture of this, they get upset because a year and a half ago or whatever, when Zenith was bringing these guns in, they were priced $2,000-ish. But the reality is, that's just the way it is in 2021 with the demand for them. Like I said, there's no MSRP from Century, so dealers are just putting them up for whatever they think they can get, and people are buying them at that price point because, again, it is at least in my opinion, it is a quality MP5 clone, again, built, like we already talked about, on HK machinery to HK specs. And this one here has had a grand total of 0 malfunctions. We ran mostly steel case Red Army standard through it, as well as, of course, Minuteman Munitions, which is our ammo sponsor. And we've put some 147 grain Federal HST through it as well, just to make sure it fed hollow points. Feeds all of them just fine. Right now, this gun's got about 800 rounds through it, so not a ton, but again, we are in an ammo shortage here right now, so we're doing what we can for you guys to get the content up, but I can't really run the round count up that high either for one video, so there is that. I did watch one of these though go through 3,000 rounds in 2 days at the Big Daddy Unlimited shoot, and from everything I saw, it ran just fine. So a little higher round count there, and it was doing just fine. So what do I think of the gun overall? Well, there's pros and cons, so let's go through them, I guess, right? One of the pros, obviously, is that reliability. You can't do any better than that. Accuracy was very good, as you guys saw out there as well, from a pistol, in my opinion. And the trigger, obviously, I was going to say with the accuracy, to do that with this trigger, which is a con, the trigger's not great at all, not by any means. Let's talk about that, because I didn't really delve into it here, but it is just a basic MP5 trigger, and that's not the greatest thing out there in the world. You got a little bit of uptake, and then it almost rolls as it breaks, so there's no crispness to it at all. It's not, for accuracy, it is not a great trigger. For, you know, dumping submachine gun rounds downrange, it's perfectly acceptable though, but it's not great. Another con of it is going to be the magazines and the lack of a last round bolt hold open. So every 30 rounds you get a click, no bang, which is effectively the exact same thing as having a failure to fire every 31 rounds. So generally speaking, I don't really like that, but back then when this gun was created, that was perfectly normal, and there were a lot of guns out there that didn't have last round bolt hold opens on them. A pro of it is going to be accessories right now. Mp5 accessories, there's more of them than there's ever been. And part of that is due to the folks over at MKE who've been bringing these in. Also the folks at PTR, the Pakistani variants as well that are coming in. So the more and more variants that are coming in, the more and more accessories are out there for them. Obviously on this gun, we have the SB tactical brace, which is really, really nice, adjustable. You can adjust it to 3 different positions, get it really nice and compact there if you want to. Tons of different handguards out there. Some of them are really expensive. Some of them are actually relatively inexpensive, like the Magpul offering out there, and it gives you a lot of added capability to the gun. But it's not inexpensive, you know, and if you look around at 9mm guns out there that are going to be comparably priced, really just kind of the B&T is really the only one that comes to mind as a major player. So it's on the higher end of what most people would consider a PCC for sure. And you can get, you know, other guns that are going to perform relatively similarly for less without question, but it is a super high quality gun. And one thing that's nice about it is they're very, very proven. Over at NASA, you guys can Google this and you'll find many articles on it. They have an MP5 over there that has documented over 500,000 rounds through it. And with very minimal armorer's maintenance on it, it is still going and it's still in use. So that's durable. These guns are durable. They are known for that for sure. And they actual roller delayed system on there is a huge pro to it. You know, with the semi-automatic variant, you can you kind of notice it a little bit, but if you start getting into full auto with those roller delayed systems, you can just keep these things on track. And of course, the same thing does translate to semi-automatics. You just don't notice it because you're not shooting as fast. But follow-up shots super, super fast because your muzzle's not moving on you with that roller delayed system on there. Another benefit of that system is when you're running it suppressed, you don't get gas in the face like you would from a direct blowback, at least nowhere near as much. So pros and cons like anything, I suppose, but in my opinion, this is a very high quality gun. If you don't want to pay the H&K price and you're okay with the price of this one and you want a similar type of system, then I'd say have at it. I see no issues at all with it, and we're going to keep shooting in the future. And if anything changes on that front, we will let you guys know. If you have any questions, you can always post them down below in the comments section. You can also post them over at the various social media sites that you see here on your screen. The best place to reach me, though, is still over at Facebook. I just got my page back as of this video, and I do not see all the questions over there like I used to, but I still think I see most of them, and everyone that I see I do get back to over there. And then we also have 2 different emails. One is the daily deals email, so if this thing goes on sale, we'll blast it out to you guys in an email, and we send out other deals that we find along the way as well. Then we have another email list, which is basically all the videos since the last one that we sent out. Because even if you're subscribed here, by the way, if you're not subscribed and you like the video, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Even if you're subscribed, YouTube sometimes isn't showing you my videos, so that way the email will go straight from me to you, and you guys will see the videos that I do put up. We are also over on the Warrior Poet Society network now, which is cool. That mirrors all my content over there, and my content there is free. Link for that will be down below. They also have premium content, and I have a 10% viewer discount code down below in the comments section, in the description rather, as well, if I could talk. And they make really, really good content, like TV level production, but on good subjects that folks who like guns and gear will dig. And I think that's it. That's the end of my spiel, guys. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Look forward to seeing everybody in the next video.